Hi and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can make at least 10,000 naira per week, a minimum of 10k per week, using this method I am going to show you. As a student, on your slowest week, you can make a minimum of 10,000 naira per week. Even as a student, it is not going to interfere with your academics. It's not going to interfere with what you are doing. In fact, if you put in extra work, you can make way more than that. I remember that sometimes I used to make even up to 30,000 naira. As at 2017, 2018, I was making around that figure every week using this strategy I am going to show you. This business is actually very lucrative. It is harmless. There's nothing wrong with it, and it's for me, I believe that it is way better than you going into fraud or Yahoo. It's way better than that. You just need to put in the required amount of work. I don't believe in laziness. If you can put in an honest 2 to 3 hours per day into this work, then you will be making a lot higher than what I am telling you. I'm just giving you a baseline of what you can make per week using this very business. Okay, here's my story. I came across a particular skill in my 200 level, and that was programming. I became interested in Python programming, and I decided to learn. The reason why I did this was that I just didn't feel it that much, always calling home whenever I needed something. Though my parents were quite supportive, but I just saw it to myself that I could maybe make a little more cash. But when I started learning the skill, I didn't have the intention of, okay, maybe going into a full business. But when I discovered after 3 months that I was actually good at the programming thing, I decided to push further. And when I pushed further, I discovered that, oh, okay, I can do it. The first money I ever made from this business was actually 1,000 naira, and that was back then in 2016. And when I held that money in my hand, I was like, wow, okay, so I could do it. In fact, it was very simple. What I did was I did 10 paper for somebody. That was it. That was the inspiration. In fact, 10 paper, this 100 level 10 paper, I did it for someone. I remember, and it was a junior colleague. I was in my 200 level then, and I remember holding that money in my hand, and I was like, wow, so this is possible. So how did it happen? I got to a point where I was broke in school. I didn't really have much. I needed a quick cash, and I saw a 100 level student. Okay, that was second semester, and there was this GST 10 paper they were writing. He was panicking. He didn't know what to do. So I told him I could help him because it was just 2 days to submission. After negotiating, I told him, if you give me 1,000 naira and you bring a friend, I am going to agree to do it for you for 1,000 naira, but you need to give me one friend. And he agreed to it, and he gave me 1,000 naira. And the next day, I remember very well, I wrote the 10. In fact, I spent 3 hours just searching for 10 paper. I wrote the 10 paper and I showed it to him. It was unique. It was not like the rest of the people that were copying. Like for some people that copied, and he was like, okay, yes, I like it. He gave me someone else, and for that guy, I wrote the same 10 paper for the person. The next person came in, I did a different topic, I did the same thing. And I remember that at the end of 3 days, I had 5,000 naira with me. I remember very well, I did for a total of 4 people. And I remember having 5,000 naira in my hand. And I was like, wow, so this is possible. So within the space of 3 days, I can make this amount of money. At least 5,000 naira that 2016 was something. It was worth something. And that was how I decided to keep on with the whole 10 paper thing. So after about 3 months, I decided that okay, it's time for me to, take this thing a bit forward. And I started posting on WhatsApp, I started posting on Facebook groups, Facebook groups, and I started searching for jobs within the school. And then I discovered that there were more people who needed something like that, and I was good with writing. I mean, it's bringing in the money. It's not as if I knew everything. It's not as if I was so good at that writing. But the idea here was that I just took the job. I just accepted the 10 papers. I accepted the jobs regardless, and I took the pen to write it, because that is where the money comes in, where you can sit down to do something that nobody else is willing to do. So I was always posting on Facebook group, telling people about how I can help them with either their assignments or their 10 papers, and that was how I started making money. I didn't do it in a fraudulent way. The next thing I did was that I remember I started learning Python programming as a skill. I discovered that, okay, I could take this thing a step forward. So I started learning Python programming as a skill, which helped me to start helping people with their project work. So they could do the paperwork. Well, when it comes to the programming and the hardware design, I learned Python. I also learned Arduino. In fact, it took me 6 months to master and work properly with Python. But I remember that I was putting in a lot of hours. I was putting in a lot of work to learning that very skill. In fact, I was doing it every day. I wasn't really going to parties or the clubs. In fact, my first 3 years in the university, I was socially awkward. I won't even lie to you. But the truth is, the price to that is that today I don't lack. Today I can actually boast of a lot of nice jobs, nice projects that I've done for people within and outside the country. In fact, I've made a lot of money from Upwork, I've made from Fiverr. So, and I also am running my own website today because I decided to start learning these skills at the early stage. And if you haven't learned any of these skills and you think it's too late, no, it's not too late. It's all about commitment. It's all about you being able to do what other people are not willing to do. So the first thing you must do is go into Facebook groups, start posting about your skill if you have a skill, and if you don't, you can start with writing and while learning a particular skill. So you can start going on Facebook groups, you can start posting about writing, you can help people with assignments and with their projects, and you can also help people resell their products. It's one of the things. It will surprise you how much people are looking for ways to either sell their items like their phones. I remember very well one time there was this friend of mine. He came with a new techno pop from the holiday, and I remember that 2 months into the semester, he was already looking for a way to sell the phone because he didn't have enough. He was already looking for a way to sell the phone. He was having issues with the school fees. He needed to complete his school fees before the portal was closed so that he can write exams, and he needed to sell his phone. So with the WhatsApp marketing, already I had WhatsApp contacts, so I knew people. So all I did was that I posted the phone on my WhatsApp and I dropped a price range, and someone called. Someone replied, saying, "Oh, how much?" And I discovered that in less than 2 days, I was able to sell the phone. So from there, I also took that as my side hustle. So I will post it in Facebook group. In case you have anything you want to sell, contact me. I am going to sell it for you. And I was able to make a fortune too from selling. And what really helped me was the high amount of WhatsApp contacts that I had. I had so many WhatsApp contacts. I had so many of them. So it was easy for me to just post. In fact, most of the contacts I had were from around my school. In fact, it was mostly around UNIU as a whole. So once, and also I had non-students on my WhatsApp too. So once I post, someone will buy. And also people were contacting me, telling me they wanted to sell their phones. Some people wanted to sell their materials, and even some of them wanted to advertise their tutorials where they were teaching people. They were teaching people, taking people on some courses as a tutorial. So you can also tutor people too. So like people who were willing to tutor, they will contact me and ask me to help them get connect. I mean, I was having connect from every single level of year one students that entered the school. I had their contacts. The final year students too, I had their contacts because I also was helping a lot of them with their projects. And also I was just posting it over. I was just posting and advertising my business over and over again. I remember my Canva account was filled with so many stickers and flyers that I was designing almost every single day. And another thing I must warn you against is that you're trying to make money should not interfere with your academics. You should also look for a way to balance your academics with what you're doing. So this isn't a financial advice. I'm not advising you in any way. You should make your own research. You also know at the extent at which you can stretch yourself without reaching the breaking point. So if you know that stretching yourself that far is going to affect your academics, then you should let it go. But for me, I feel like this whole thing is a mind thing, because in fact, one of the easiest way for you to break even with the thing with this is that you should, if you are going to write maybe projects and assignments for people, then you should be able to center it around your course so that you will be seeing familiar things. In fact, if you're doing that, it will help you with your academics. Or you can say, okay, I read this before. Since I was helping people with the assignments and also I was tutoring them, I can use this knowledge to also write my own exams and pass, have good grades without being affected. So concentrate mostly with your department if you know it's going to stretch you. But if you know that you can go generic with some other group of people, with some other departments, then you can go ahead and do it. But I don't believe in jack of all trade, because you end up being a master of none. So you can narrow it down to a particular niche and then stick to it. You can narrow it down to a particular department, mostly advisable your department, and then stick to it. The third way you can make money is by tutoring people. You can teach people from your class. You can make money from just tutoring them. Announce tutorial for a particular class, and then within 3 days you can make the money. And let me give you one hint when it comes to tutorial. Your best time to run tutorial isn't in the first part. It should not be around the first part of the semester, because a lot of people are going to feel nonchalant about it. So you should use that time to read. Should use that time to study your course materials. Where it will really help you will be towards the exams time. You should take advantage of that exams panic to run your tutorial. Take advantage of that exams time. In another video, I'm going to break down each of these methods I've shown you, and I'm going to explain to you how you can easily execute each of these methods very easily. So you should take advantage of that exams period. Very, very important. That exams panic is where you should come in. A lot of people are going to be looking for ways to read, to understand. A lot of people who didn't really have the time during the semester to study are definitely going to look for ways to study that particular course before exams. That is where you can come in. You can charge them 1,000 naira, you can charge them 500 naira, you can charge them 2k, depending on how you want to charge them. But remember, it's a school environment and students are involved. A lot of them too will be broke. So you should know the amount that you're charging them. You should be considerate with your amount. but that can help you make extra income even as a student. In fact, all you need to do is go to my next video that I'm going to drop, because I'm going to share with you how I handled most of those businesses, how my friends and I handled most of those businesses. I'm going to show you in the next video. But for the WhatsApp course, I also have a WhatsApp course telling you how you can gather those contacts from fellow students like you, and how you can manage those contacts, how you can advertise, the things you should do to get those WhatsApp contacts. I am going to leave the WhatsApp course in the video description, so you just click on the link, download the course. It is all free. You don't have to pay anything. Like I said, you do not have to pay anything. It's completely free. So download the course now and learn from it. So my best advice for you right now is for you to learn a particular skill. While you're using these simple skills that I have shown to you, you should be able to learn a particular skill that will help you later. Don't just stay in school and just be learning classroom stuff, because when you come out, it will not help you. I know this very well because I've been through the system and I've seen the way things are. What you learn in the classroom, yes, it's going to help expand your mind, it's going to help you with your thinking, and it's also definitely going to help you with a lot of things in future. But the truth is that if you ever want to make money, you need skill, and you need to learn it at the early stage. You need to learn it now that you are young, now that you have a free mind. So make sure that you learn a particular skill. Also, when you're learning a particular thing, try and see how you can also monetize it at some point. You should not be striving for the money. You should strive to become better. Now, one of the things I used to do back then in school was that I could meet someone, and I could meet a final year student, or like go to my lecturer and tell him about what I want to do, and then I'll meet with the final year students. Even when I was in 300 level, I'll meet with the final year student, and I'll tell him, I'll tell them, I have this cool project that I can do for you, and this is what it will take for you to do the project. Now, I had already researched everything, I had already checked everything. Maybe I have a particular skill which I have learned that I would want to implement, but I cannot use my money to do it, or I can't really afford it, especially when I was learning robotics for the first time, learning how to program with Arduino and Raspberry Pi boards. One of the things that I used to do was that I knew that for me to build anything or work with any of these robots, I have to spend money to buy each of those modules. For me to work with any of these boards, I remember the first board I ever worked with was actually Arduino. Then I switched to Intel Edison, Jetson Nano. In fact, I was working with a lot of computer boards. And one of the things I used to do was that I'll go to a final year student, I'll tell them, okay, I can do this project for you. I remember at some point, as at my 400 level during my IT, I was really working for even master's degree students. And one of the things I was doing was that I'll just meet with them. Listen, I can do this project for you. It's cool. You don't really have to even do anything. The only thing you have to worry about is the paperwork. And even the paperwork, I'm going to give you the structure, especially when it comes to the chapter 3, which has to do with the implementation of the project. I am going to help you run this project from beginning till the end. All you need to do is give me the money and I can implement the project for you. And since they used to see my presence online in school almost every time, most of them would trust me. And for the ones who did not trust me to take their money, what they would do is that they will work with me, they will order the boards and all the modules and all the materials I needed for the project. Once I am done with the project, he pays me and I give him the rest of the hardware. If it was just software, I'll just do the programming, I get paid, and then that is it. The good thing is that I used to make sure that each project is different from the first. So I was learning new things, I was learning new skills, and I was spending virtually 0 naira on what I was doing. In fact, I remember making money from my own project work, and you can do this for yourself. It's not difficult. It's all about your mindset. You condition your mind that, okay, this is what I'm going to do at the end of the day. I am not even the smartest person in my class. I didn't graduate top of the class. No, in fact, I was an average student. What differentiated me from the rest of the students was that I was always trying in one way or the other to improve my skills. And you can do this for yourself. You can also make the money for yourself, even as a student. So my name is Aneki Mudonse. So if you like this video, please subscribe, and if you have anything you have to say, if you have a comment about this video, if you have any thoughts about this video, please share it in the comment section. I would really appreciate your thoughts. I would really appreciate your comments in this video. Thank you very much. Please do not forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that anytime that I release video content like this, like some of the videos which I have promised you, you are going to be the first to see. So thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.